Hello everyone, my name is Misun Park. I'm from Graduate School of International Agricultural Technology, the Seoul National University, and the Republic of Korea. I thank Professor Kohsaka for inviting me to this special lecture program entitled with Blue-Green Infrastructure Frontiers, Ecosystem Service, Management, and Challenges. As a forest policy scientist, I'd like to highlight the green-blue infrastructure in urban planning and policies. The lecture program titled with the blue-green infrastructure, but it changed the word orders, the green-blue infrastructure, with my interest in green infrastructure. For preparing for this lecture, I worked together with Ms. Haeun Lee and Mr. Sungmin Shin, the researcher at our research group. Before starting this lecture, I'd like to introduce my background. I studied forest science, environmental education, and forest policy. It means I studied natural science and social science. And based on this educational background, today I will try to explain the green-blue infrastructure ideas, concepts in urban side. Currently, I'm working as a coordinating lead author for writing a global assessment of sustainable use of wild species, the IPAS, Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Service. As well, I'm working as a coordinator of UFRO, International Union Forest Research Organization, with the topic, the traditional forest knowledge. As the deputy coordinator, I work in the field of forests and the media communication, then represented policies and frames with the topic of environmental problems, environmental issues. In the field of forest and environmental policy, I have several research topics with my research group. Currently, I'm conducting research on agroforestry. It's intensive and mixed land use type, agriculture and forestry. And I have a big interest in urban forests and urban agriculture in developed and developing countries. As you know, the urban population increase. Now over 50% of the world population live in urban areas. For the better life, for better quality of our lives, we needed to consider our living conditions, including urban forests, green areas, linking with biodiversity and climate change. Biodiversity and climate change is a global issue, but at the urban area, we have a high interest in biodiversity and climate change, because we faced a lot of urban problems linking with biodiversity and climate change. Today I will highlight green-blue infrastructure in urban areas. Infrastructure. We can try to identify the meaning of infrastructure. According to Cambridge Dictionary, the infrastructure can be identified as the basic system and service that a country or organization use in order to work effectively. We need the basic, the physical and organizational structure and facility for operating our society, or organization, or enterprises, our society, including we can say the infrastructure. If we say infrastructure, we can have image of building, roads, or the power supplies, power line. In urban area, we can also consider housing, the building, the transportation, etc. The infrastructure support the daily work of our society. Then today we will bring the color in front of infrastructure, especially in urban infrastructure. We can consider urban infrastructure in urban planning and land use planning. We need infrastructure in urban area. That's why we need to consider, we should plan how we allocate the specific facilities in the limited urban area, the limited urban land use. We can try to divide the infrastructure into three types, the three colors. The gray infrastructure, as we have already mentioned, the basic meaning of infrastructure, the basic examples of infrastructure, the building, roads, or other constructions. Then we consider green and blue infrastructure. Maybe at the first lecture you have already run, but I highlight again, green infrastructure include the vegetation, the trees, the parks, field, the forests. And blue infrastructure is related to water, the river, the canals, ponds, wetlands, etc. The green infrastructure is deeply related to green area management. The blue infrastructure is related to water treatment, water management in urban area. Then we consider different color of infrastructure. At the first phases of urban planning, we highlighted gray infrastructure. We need still gray infrastructure. It is the key facility for our society. This in gray infrastructure, the support and our moving, our staying in urban area. The green infrastructure, we consider green areas in urban side. The green infrastructure means it includes network of natural and semi-natural area with another environment features. Then blue-green infrastructure or green-blue infrastructure, including green spaces as well as the water resource, the water related facility, water related natures in urban area. Over time, we include diverse infrastructure in urban planning and urban design. not only green infrastructure, we added green spaces between the building, roads, and transportation. And now we mentioned green-blue infrastructure. At the same time, we consider water lands in the green land, the forest lands, or the nature park in urban area. It shows the change of our focus in urban planning and urban design. Today I will highlight green-blue infrastructure. But based on my background as a forest policy scientist, I highlighted green infrastructure at first, and I'd like to mention how we connect the green infrastructure with blue infrastructure. The green infrastructure, we can say it is a strategically planned network of high quality natural and semi-natural areas. It can be designed and managed to deliver a wide range of ecosystem service, including the protecting biodiversity and controlling climate in urban area. The green infrastructure, it is a spatial structure to providing benefit from nature to people. If we say green infrastructure in urban area, then we calculate the benefits, the advantage of nature for people's living, the people's urban living, aiming to enhance nature's ability to deliver multiple valuable ecosystem goods and service according to European Union. You can see the different type of green infrastructure, the street trees, the park, and also urban agricultural land. We can see different type of green infrastructure. We can bring the different name, exact name of green spaces in urban area. Green roof, green wall, and multifunctional farming lands in urban area we can consider. We have different type of green infrastructure. Currently we tried to add more diverse type of green infrastructure. It is one example, green-blue infrastructure. We can consider the benefit of the water in urban areas and the combining the two infrastructure, green-blue infrastructure. We can regulate air quality, to increase social interaction, to reduce stress, to regulate water quantity and quality, and mitigation heat stress, to reduce noises. We also consider the physical activities in urban area using green-blue infrastructure. So now we highlight the green-blue infrastructure for gaining these kinds of benefits. Here we can say the ecosystem service of green-blue infrastructure. The accepting ecosystem service of urban green areas and urban water areas. Basically, the green areas, for a long time, we pay more attention to timber production from the green area or at the mountains. And we want to gain the timber through tree management, forest management. Nowadays, we recognize the multiple functions of trees, not only provisioning service. We pay attention to the regulating, supporting, and cultural service. The regulating service, air quality regulation, climate regulation, the water regulation, the erosion regulation, etc. And supporting service include nutrient cycling, the water cycling, the soil formation. In particular, the cultural service has been highlighted, including the recreation, tourism, then education. We can consider the multiple type of cultural service of urban green spaces and urban water spaces. Recognizing ecosystem service, we try to consider the multiple services of green and water spaces in urban planning, the urban land use. This ecosystem service can be also linked with the Sustainable Development Goals. As you know very well, the Global Society accepted 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It is on the diagram we can say the SDG, the wedding cake, that we can try to divide the three dimensions: ecology, society, and economy. Then we show the vertical priority or the hierarchy or different dimensions of the Sustainable Development Goals. The basic fundamental dimension, the biosphere, including the land management, the ocean water management, the deep related to climate action. As biosphere, green space, the green infrastructure, the water, the blue infrastructure, a key point, the key sphere for supporting our current society. I mean, for supporting our cities. And based on these highlighted focuses, we will see the green and blue infrastructure. GreenBlue Infrastructure in urban planning and urban design, we will see the policies, how we create green and blue infrastructure at the national level. There are some examples, the green roofs in Germany, but not only Germany, in European countries. The European countries adopted the green roofs design in urban area. But today I will highlight the German policy instruments for creating green roofs. An eco-roof incentive program in Toronto, Canada, and we can also see the incentive opportunities for the urban dwellers in establishing eco-roofs. And also we will see some water design, the water program in Singapore, highlighting a specific policy instrument, informational policy instrument. At first we will see the German case, the green roofs in Germany. The green roofs were introduced in the 1970s. Germany has already a long history in creating green roofs, And as you see the photo, then we can see the green areas, green spaces, the roofs of the building. The annual runoff of intensive and extensive green roof is on average 25% and 50% of the annual rainfall in Germany, and means 75% and 50% of the precipitation is stored on green roofs. Then we can see the green infrastructure contribute to the water management in the cities. We will see different type of policy instruments for supporting green roofs in German cities, the regulatory instruments and economic instruments. The regulatory instruments include the national or local regulations. In Germany, as of 2004, 145 development regulations require green roofs in the cities. This regulation depends on the federal building code and local land use regulation, also the various environmental regulation, the nature protection regulation, and environmental assessment regulations. And some local governments require green roofs of public building. And I cannot say the exact number of local governments, but according to the reference, as you can see, the local governments established regulation related to green roofs of public buildings. I can say the one case, city Esslingen Neckar Ordinance. The flat roofs and the roof surface with up to 15-degree slope are to be extensively greened and permanently maintained in Esslingen. And roof greening must have an average root penetrable thickness of at least 15 centimeters. It means regulation that require how the roof, eco roof, the green roof, should be created and managed. And the guideline suggested for creating green roofs in Germany. And planning instruments, the urban planning. The urban plan include green roofs related item articles. In Stuttgart, there is the Development Plan 21, the Area A1. The roof greening means 80% of the roof surface with a minimum 12 centimeter substrate depth and 20% with minimum 60 centimeter substrate depth. Then this kind of detail requirement were suggested for creating green roofs. And there is also green area ratio. The Germany tried to maintain the exact number of green area ratio for sustainable city, considering green and blue infrastructure. Germany provides also economic instrument. For example, the subsidy program for property owners and developers who build the green roofs. The owners and developers can gain about 10 to 30 euro per square meter of green roofs. And the other way, they can get some support of the cost of construction or the design cost. The city-state of Bremen subsidized 25% of the cost of roof greening to a maximum of 1,500 euro. It is one incentive for encouraging the urban dweller in creating green roofs. Germany provides another economic instruments for cities in creating green roofs. It is tax allowance. The people in creating green roofs can gain stormwater fee discount. In Germany, all people pay stormwater fee, but the people in creating green roofs can gain the fee discount because the green roofs is recognized as a compensation measure according to federal nature conservation. Here we can see the administrative court's rule. The calculation of fees for stormwater discharge based on built or impervious surface is an approximate measure with the closest accuracy. The legal allowance for green roofs for the draining of stormwater in the amount of 50% is appropriate. Amen. Then stormwater discharge can be one incentive for people in creating green roofs that they can get around 50% of stormwater fee discount. It supported to encourage people in the creating green roofs in Germany. Here we can see for supporting green roofs, the local governments require to construct a green roof during the construction of a new building. It is an obligation. It is a regulatory instrument. At the same time, the local governments provide subsidies for the property owners and developers who create the green roofs. Then they can get the incentive in creating green roofs. Then we can see the combination between different types of policy instruments and creating and maintaining green and blue infrastructure. Then we can see this kind of technical, strategical approach for encouraging urban dweller in creating green roofs in Germany. In Germany, I didn't find active information instruments. Of course, the German government also gave consultation service for designing and creating green roofs in the cities. But I'd like to highlight the case of Singapore, the information instrument in the blue infrastructure. But these instruments also include the GreenBlue Infrastructure. The Singapore government named Active, Beautiful, Clean Water Policy, ABC Waters. And the government provide the ABC Waters design guideline and created a certification. The building certification considered the GreenBlue GreenBlue Infrastructure, and the Singapore to provide also the professional program. We need expertise in designing the blue-green infrastructure for active, beautiful, and clean waters and green spaces. And the Singapore case can be one the great example how government communicate with multi-stakeholders, how governments provide guideline, the certification, the training program for supporting the creation of GreenBlue infrastructure. But we can find some challenges in the creating green and blue infrastructure in the cities. We need high technical requirements for considering creation of green roofs. We needed to calculate the weight of soil and the roof for the sustainable housing or sustainable building, and we also consider the watering, the green areas, and the green spaces. And in urban areas, we should consider the multiple functions of GreenBlue infrastructure, not only one function. That's why for meeting multiple functions, multiple service of GreenBlue infrastructure, we need high technical approach for creating and maintaining GreenBlue infrastructure. Currently, we pay more costs in the creating green roofs instead of the normal non-eco roofs. We endure this cost now, but it can be the barrier in creating green roofs. And we can also consider the conflicts among stakeholders. The city have a lot of needs from the society, and the urban spaces, not only for green and blue spaces. We need housing, we need transportation, and there are conflicts in urban land use. In urban planning, in urban design, we should pay attention to the voice by multi-stakeholders. We need a communication process among stakeholders. So now we can say GreenBlue infrastructure support multiple service of ecosystem in urban area. And we, as I mentioned, we introduced the multiple policy instruments to support the green roofs or for support GreenBlue infrastructure. But there are a few surveys, there are a few assessments of the policy effectiveness related to GreenBlue infrastructure. There are the challenges in creating and maintaining GreenBlue infrastructure. That's why I don't like to say we need an innovative approach to GreenBlue infrastructure. We need more cooperation among sectors, water sector, the green sector, the forest sector, health sectors. The different sectors are interconnected for sustainable city. Then the different branches, different agencies work together for supporting GreenBlue infrastructures. Then in the process of creating and maintaining GreenBlue infrastructure, we need more communication and collaboration. That's why we can highlight urban governance for creating and maintaining GreenBlue infrastructures. As the German case shows, we need combined instruments. We need regulation. At the same time, we need incentive for encouraging the citizens' participation. Then we should understand, we should consider characteristic of regulation. We need some obligation, and also we need incentive. Then people can calculate the benefits in creating the green roofs of their buildings. And we need expertise. The GreenBlue infrastructure management, we need a new technology, we need a new system. We can collect data from GreenBlue infrastructure. Then using this data, we can redesign urban area for distributing green and blue spaces in urban area. It can be one the major area, major part of urban areas. It brings the new jobs in the managing GreenBlue infrastructure. That's why I can say GreenBlue infrastructure shows transitions in urban planning. As I mentioned, ecosystem service, well-being in urban area. We recognize the multiple functions and service of ecosystem in urban area. It is deeply related to the human well-being. That's why we try to manage ecosystem service in cities. And we faced a lot of problems, including biodiversity, climate changes, and flood and disasters. We need to control this kind of risk in cities. The resilience and sustainability, it is big management goal in cities. And we need an integrated and comprehensive approach. We need a cooperation among different sectors, the forest, water, the health sectors. And as I mentioned, we need innovation in urban planning and design, using the technology, using the governance approach. We should create a new system for handling green urban structure. Before finalizing this lecture, I'd like to share this beautiful photo. This photo, but it is the picture by Plieninger Hundertwasser in Austria. He is an artist and architecture focusing on environment. He created a lot of work, including green spaces and environmental landscapes. The Green Town. This work was created in 1978, but we can understand, as I mentioned, Germany adopted the green roofs, the policies in 1970s. But we can see this picture with the multi-storied green spaces. I think it is the creative image of a green space at that time, but we realized this picture to reality. Now we consider green roofs and also vertical green spaces in the city. I think now we need a creative approach, innovative approach for designing our city, for enhancing the human well-being and the sustainability. So thank you for your attention. The two pictures from my office at my faculty campus pictures. Then welcome to visit our campus that we can have a more face-to-face communication in the future. Thank you for your attention.